Hey guys, are you tired of making minimum wage, making 60, 50, even $100,000, but not being able to enjoy your family, enjoy the time that you can with the money that you make, and you want to double, triple that? I'm going to show you how. Are you tired of not being able to find leads that are worth your time so that you can charge premium fees for your work? And finally, with only 2 to 3 sales every week, you will be over $100,000 if you make 4 sales per week, which should be totally normal. At a 15%, at $10,000, we're talking about $280,000. This is Black Label Closers. My name is Jader Salazar, and we're going to talk about the fundamentals of high ticket sales and how to be optimal about it. All right, so let's start. Good to have you guys here. It is great to find some of you have sent me some messages asking me for help, and I'm more than happy to help you guys and to give you feedback on how to conquer high ticket sales. Let's talk about the first point. Today's we always like to go. So 3 things. We're going to talk about 3 things that would get you to make real income. Right. The first one, let's talk about you guys that regardless of how old you are, especially if you're into your 30s, 40s, even 50s, and why not 60s. You're a lot of you guys that have families that have 3, 4 kids or 1 kid. A family, or simply you are single and you're looking to be able to invest into the open market there in real estate, stock market, even Bitcoin. Not a big fan, but it is what it is. Some people make a lot of money. I hear a lot of scams going on, but people do make money with Bitcoin. How do you position yourself? And a lot of salespeople are selling low ticket sales or low ticket products, and having an account that gives you, I mean, think about this. If you have an account that pays you $100 for every sell, right? Or $200 or even $300 for every sell, that means the product, the size of the ticket that you're selling, to be able to make it worth your time, you're going to have to work an insane amount of hours, even if you have the skill. Now, the skill to sell something small, it's a little bit different than selling something big, right? It takes a lot more time. It takes a lot more skill. Not skill, but it takes a lot more leads. It takes having to be rejected more times. I don't have any problem with rejection as long as I'm getting paid, right? If I get paid, then obviously I don't mind rejection. Is when I'm not getting paid that I mind the rejection. Of course, one thing mounts on the other one, and it starts getting crowded, and it piles up, right? The rejection, the amount of leads, the amount of hours, all the effort that you put towards it. It makes you have to maximize your time, guys. This is what I always talk about, and one of the first things that probably will go to AI as far as the sales industry will be the small ticket, right? Low ticket. So it is time for you guys to learn a trade that will help you start making the money that you deserve, right? The money that can show the character of what you do in terms of the money that you make, right? And why do I say character? Well, every industry has its own character, its own premise, its own development of skill, right? And to be able to maximize, I remember talking to a guy not very long ago. I was trying to place someone into a high ticket proposition, and I was talking to a company, finding the possibility for them for me to place this person in this one company. And I talked to a very kind man. He answered the phone and he was working with a particular industry. I can't remember the industry, but what he said to me was, in order, the first question he asked me is, or was, uh, what's the income expectation that you have for this person? And I said, well, in high ticket, from my experience, he can start averaging a couple of $100,000 within a couple of months. And he said, well, here's the problem. In the industry, he was a manager to this one company, and he said, in the industry that I work with, the guys that are making $200,000 are guys that have been here for 2, 3, 4 years, and the reason why is they have so much to learn, to the point that once they become high earners, they are almost acting like an attorney, being able to look out for the customer, being able to follow up, being able to do all these things. So in this particular industry, and I can't remember what it was, the people that got into the sales, into those type of sales, they had to learn. It took them about a month to be able to learn the basics set for other guys. It took them about a year to a year and a half to 2 years to be setting other people so they could train simultaneously to become closers. And in the meantime, they were only going to make about $40,000, $50,000. I mean, you have to be smart in the way you're going to select the type of industry that you're going to choose if you want to start making high amounts of money. Now, why is high ticket? You have to select and be a little bit selective. You have to be selective in the way that you're going to get into high ticket. A lot of high ticket propositions are not as quick as to help you become a high paying performer, because there's so much technicality that you have to go through to be able to appear like an expert. In the technical information is so surgical that you have to also walk the prospect through various technical steps so that the customer or the potential customer can find out if the product is the right product for them. So it's a lot of legwork to be able to get to that point. I would not wait 2 years with the promise that at the end of 2 years, I'm going to make $200,000. I want that quick. I want that fast. I want it right now, especially if I come from another industry and I'm trying to make a transition so that I can start making money, especially if I invest into my education to be able to further myself as a salesperson. I want to make sure that I'm not going to have to wait 2 years to start making a six-figure income. If I'm only going to make $40,000 or $50,000 in the meantime for a year, a couple of years, that's not going to be the type of field for me. There are tons of companies and tons of industries in the high-ticket field that can catapult you to start making a six-figure income within a few months. I mean, I've seen this. I've been in this for over 24 years now, and it's only been my experience that the people I've trained, as well as my personal experience, I went from being a college grad to start making over $200,000 by the third year, doubling that. So this is a personal testimony that I have, and also a personal testimony from helping other people get to that point as quick as possible. The last company that I helped, it took for me to take 7 guys from making almost no money to start making over $100,000. Some of them are making about $200,000 a year in the sales experience that they have with the training that I gave them. So guys, you shouldn't be taking jobs that, I mean, I shouldn't say you shouldn't be taking. I mean, it's really your prerogative. It's how you feel about this, and you really are the only person who makes that decision. But in my opinion, if we're maximizing our potential to be able to make money as soon as possible, we should find the right vehicle that's going to take you there. Of course, you're not going to be able to, and I'm not saying that skip the process and don't learn all the technicals that you have to learn to be able to make $200,000 as per this company that I just talked about, right? They needed to wait 2 years because their industry demands for that. In high ticket sales, especially when you're selling coaching, investing, and the investing, financial coaching, investing, whether it's the stock market, whether it's real estate, whether it's e-commerce with Amazon, uh, Bitcoin, and so many other fields out there. You don't need to wait for all that to. And here's the other part: is the process that it takes you to get your prospect from zero to be able to acquire the skills or to be able to close a deal. I'm sorry. It should only take place in one or two calls, right? It's not like you have to do a bunch of follow-ups and wait for the guy to get a document ready, wait for the guy to get to align something, building he's getting ready for whatever it is that you're trying to sell. None of that. And then after you close the deal, you have to, do the follow-up, making sure everything is going to be installed, so that the guy never, so that you can act as a customer service for the guy. You should be able to close the deal and just move on to the next deal, right? Call. And if you're making calls on videos or whatever it is, it should be a quick process, make money for the company, make money for you, and help the customer start maximizing in whatever it is they're investing into. All right. I want to say hi to some people that are here. Rose is here. Thank you very much, Rose, for showing up. Welcome on board. Hi, Rose. Yoey, hello. Welcome on board. Mars is here as well. Paul is here. Great. And Aldo is here. Great, guys. Welcome on board. Take notes. Learn a ton. I really appreciate you guys showing up every single time that we have these events. And more people will probably show up in a little bit. Sometimes it takes some people 10 minutes of traction, and that's fine. All right? Cool. The next point that I wanted to cover today, the next topic is how to become a high commodity in the business world to get paid what you need to get paid. So how do we get people to give us $5,000, $20,000, $30,000? One of the most important parts of being in this industry, guys, is becoming sensically consultants. And this is the reason why there's a difference between salespeople. And I always talk about this, and I'm not ever going to get tired of saying this, guys. There's always a difference between someone who's selling a product and someone who's consulting on a product, right? You do a lot more taking your customer through an experience that offers consultation and offers them a helping hand. How do we help people in this industry? We help them understand concepts they don't understand. And this is where your skills as a communicator come very handy, right? Remember, you have 2 ears and only 1 mouth. So you should be listening more than talking. So how do we trigger someone to talk? We ask questions. Remember, the person asking the questions is controlling the call. A lot of people think the person talking the most is the one that has the control of that conversation. And that's not at all true, because if I ask questions and I keep asking you questions, I'm dictating the direction where you're going, right? All you're doing is reflecting and reacting to my will, right? And if you present yourself with enough sensical understanding of what you're talking about, if you are confident, if you ask the right questions, and if you make propositions that make sense, being logical through the process, trust me, and you sound sequential, you get the punchlines in the right place, that rhythm that you have is the right rhythm, you're going to find that people will start building that respect. You're going to start building that respect in that conversation. A lot of people, try when I train people, one of the first things that I want to make sure is that I train them on how not to get caught off guard, because that's one of the first things that, as a salesperson, if I'm, say for instance, I come from the construction field, right, and I get into the sales industry, especially high ticket, I know I'm going to talk to people that probably are professionals. Most of the people you're going to talk to are professionals, whether they have a degree or they don't. So they're used to talking to other people. They probably have secretaries. They probably close deals. They probably meet with, other representatives from other companies. So these are people that are, a lot of these people are well versed and well spoken, articulate in essence. So you have to match their perception of what business is. I'm not saying you have to match personalities. That's not what I'm saying at all, guys. Remember, I don't believe that I have to mirror personalities, because when I mirror personality, that means that person is in control of my personality. What I do, what I'm trying to say is you have to be up to standards to be able to talk to someone who's articulate, who's sophisticated in the way they perceive the world, and be able to surprise them with a lot of that sensical view of how business works, right? So you need to make sure you're confident and you're sequencing how you talk. This is how you get premium customers to give you 50, 20, 5, 10, $100,000, if that's the case. Is showcasing your confidence, your personality, and how you are genuinely there. And here's one thing about being genuine. When you are genuine, you're not just going to feed things that the person wants to hear. Sometimes you're going to throw a curveball where the customer or the prospect expects that you agree with him, or that you align with his philosophy of business or whatever, and you take a step back and you say, but that's not how it works. Let me explain something, right? Now you're gonna be very tactful, and that's part of being confident, being tactful without being timid about what you're gonna say. Never be timid, never be over the top, but you got to make sure you're not timid. Anybody who senses that you're being timid, you're gonna kill your deal. You're just not gonna be able to recover if you're stuttering a lot, if you're not answering questions timely, right? Be careful, guys, if you are being trained by somebody else. Be careful because a lot of people, and there are certain tricks that we play in the industry to help those that need training get better. Is when a lot of experienced salespersons say, "What I want you to do is I want you to get on the phone, and I am going to whisper what to say." So they have the technology allows for someone to put on the headset and listen to somebody else. So that requires that you don't pay attention to the customer, pay attention to the person who's fitting you with what to say. And that means that person's going to be paying attention to the customer. But here's the problem with that. It's a good technique, but you have to, it's almost like you're going to burn leads going through that process, because let's face it, in the beginning, every customer, every company that hires brand new salespeople to train, they have to be willing to burn some leads, especially if you're helping people, training people like this, right? I don't ever advise any company, and if any company is watching this, I don't advise to putting people on the phone before they're ready. Give them those solid 2 weeks, help them understand, be willing for them to burn leads at least the first week. Of course, they're going to have a limitation to that, and at some point you have to understand these people are going to be good for handling my lead or not, right? Because let's face it, people who are weak of character cannot sell. That's just plain and simple, guys. People who are not strong of character cannot sell. All right, you got to be strong of character if you want to be a powerful salesperson. That's why you got to choose this field, if you're going to be in the sales industry, you got to choose this career. If you really feel in your heart you have what it takes. Now, I think everybody has what it takes, but most people do not like to sacrifice and make those sacrifices that are necessary to excel at whatever it is that they did. In my case, coming into this field was extremely easy because what I went to school for helped me and prepared me to be a very strong person in character. So to me, that was not a big problem. All right. Okay. So the next topic that I wanted to talk to you guys about pertains to how many cells. How do we break it down? How do we break down the math as far as the money that we're gonna make? Look, I already explained. I think last time that we were here, last Thursday, I explained. I think it was Tuesday. I explained. By the way, we were not here Thursday. All right. So that no, I'm sorry, we were not here Tuesday. That one of the exceptions. Typically, I'm 90% of the times I'm going to be here twice a week. But last week I was not here. And last Tuesday I was not here. Thursday I did talk about this in terms of the percentages that how you're going to get paid as far as the percentages. And I'm sorry, it wasn't last week. It must have been about 2 weeks ago. My bad. In how companies will pay you, give you your commissions. I don't want to spend too much time as far as that. And if you get a paycheck, a base pay while you learn, or they're going to give you a draw, or any of that. I'm going to talk about something a little more practical as far as for us to understand. So when you're a setter, of course, you're going to have a deal with the company you work for. They might just pay you 10%, no base. Hey, some companies are going to be just very generous, give you a base and the 10%. That's great. Some companies are going to tell you, we're going to pay you 5% plus base until you want to switch to just commissions, or we're just going to perpetually keep it that way, or whatever it is, right? But let's talk about closing, right? When you become a closer, right? It shouldn't take you more than, top 6 months to become a closer. And that depends on the availability of the position on the side of the company. If they have the opening for you to become a closer, that's why you got to prove yourself, so that as soon as that opening gets offered, and let's face it, if the lead is pretty good and closers are making a lot of money, it's going to be pretty tough for one of those openings to come up. So you got to position yourself as the best setter so that you deserve that. You got to be on top. You got to make calls, dial, talk to people, pay attention, show up for training, all that stuff. Do everything exceptionally right. But once you become a closer, this is how you make. This is, if I'm going to break it down, it's going to be easy, right? Great closers get offers for more than 10%, but let's say that you're just making 10%, right? Typically, you're going to be in the 10 to 15%. Great closers, typically 15%, right? So let's say that you're just starting out, you're a closer, good closer, you haven't magnified your skill as a closer yet. Let's say you're 6 months into it, boom, you got the opening, you got accepted, you're a closer now. If you make 4 of those sales at 10%, it's $4,000, right? So that's $16,000 in a single month, right? That's $16,000 in a single month. Now, if you multiply that by 10, that'll be 100. We're talking about $160,000 that you're going to be able to make. And if my math is wrong, I'm just flying here, but I think it's $160,000 that you're going to be able to make if you're only making 10%. Now, if you're making 15%, that's $28,000 because you're making $10,000 deals. If you close 4, that's $6,000 in one single week. That's $24,000 in a single month, and I believe $288,000 by the end of the year. All right, so make no mistake. This is how you position yourself at a $200,000+ or $200,000+ commission base for the year. Are you going to be working a lot? Yes, you're going to be working. And I want you to understand something about salespeople. You should use your sales career as a trampoline if you're looking to become financially independent. I've done this breakdown in the past before. Let's say you're making right now, let's say you drive a truck, you make $60,000. You decide to change careers, you become a high ticket closer. Now, you live with $60,000, right? Now you're making $250,000, right? Here's my suggestion: live better than the $60,000. So pick it up to $100,000. Of course, you're going to pay more in taxes, but that's a good thing. Paying more taxes is a good thing because that means you're making more money. So pick up your whatever it is that you do with your family. If you were making $60,000, live at $100,000 with $100,000. Now you got $180,000 left, right? Minus taxes, let's say that you have $120,000 left. Take that money. Now you're going to find a coach in real estate investing, whatever it is that gives you passion. Find the one thing that makes you passionate. Start investing for someone to teach you how to do that. Spend 2, 3, 4 years, right, doing it simultaneously where you make sales and you invest, and you're going to be able to multiply exponential growth in your finances until you start making $1 million. And now you can weave out of your sales job, excuse me, or maybe start a company in sales, whatever it is. But now you're going to diversify because this is going to give you the means for you to be able to accumulate wealth. If you're 30, if you're 40, 50, this is a great vehicle, guys, for you to start accumulating money so that you can start moving to the next level. Very important, guys. I've done it myself. I'm still doing it. And this is just wisdom that I have been able to collect. Look, I'm not saying I'm wise. I'm the least of I'm not by all means naturally wise, but if experience doesn't give me the wisdom that I need to be able to conquer finances and be able to multiply, then I don't know what's going to give me that opportunity. And this is what I'm giving you. I'm passing on to you. It's not just about sales, because sales is the beginning for every entrepreneur. It's sales. If you have the sales skills, you are going to be able to catapult into many other things. All right. All right. Some people are waving at me again. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you being here, learning, and saying hi, dropping a line here and there. I really appreciate it. My name is Jader Salazar. You can watch all the success testimonials. Look at some companies that I've helped in the past as well. Subscribe here on YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday. You can come to our live events, and I'm going to do a lot of trainings, typically twice a week. Sometimes I'm going to be limping for 1 week, but that's just probably not even 10% of the time. All right, so be here 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Black Label Closers. Go to our school community, right? Become part of the community. SKOOL.com and start the conversation, ask questions, sign up for the free course. A lot of juice there. Also, if you're more aggressive and you want to learn more, there's a $97 course, estimated value of $1,000. But if you really want to put your mouth where your money where your mouth is, I always make that mistake. Your money where your mouth is. Then become my partner through the partnership program, where you and Black Label Closers will split everything to the middle. Anything you sell is going to be 50% for Black Label Closers, 50% for you. Subscribe. Don't wait anymore. Come to the events, and let's make this happen. Thank you guys for coming, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Take care.